Last time on Dragon Ball Supernatural. Doo-ba-doo-doo. Yoink! Oh no, Lucifer's got Sam. So, Michael, how about we do a fusion dance and go kick ass? What? Ha ha ha, you're mine now, Sammy! Oh, it's on now. I'll kill you, you'll kick ass, Oh.
And if I claim to be a wise man, it surely means
I will now know exactly the audience that is watching these videos by whether you caught the references in the recap or not. If you don't get it, I'll just clue you in that it's related to an anime. That's just the kind of dork I am. So this episode starts with Sam giving a presentation to Earth's new immigrants and talks about, climate change and how Trump is president. And wait, what? It was in episode 1208, Lotus, which established that the president in Supernatural's United States was one Jefferson Rooney. The guy possessed by Lucifer? Though I guess it would be hard to keep lore straight, what with this being established way back in the previous season. And he was still alive by the end of the episode. How exactly is Trump supposed to become president since then? Even if, after the whole, Satan thing, if Jefferson resigned after that, the vice president would have then taken over. Is Trump supposed to have been Rooney's running mate? Does that make sense for either the real life figure or the character that was in the show? This is what I'm always on about in keeping bloody modern politics out of your stories, because it's just going to cause you to do absolutely stupid crap like this. And all this for a, you call us the apocalypse world joke? WTF. Yeah, I consider any place where billions of humans have all been wiped out for vengeful angels to be worst, no matter who is in the White House. And the implication that people believe death is preferable to having to live with political opponents is a little unnerving. That set me off in a sour mood. But then we got a guy named Nate in the story, and he's a murder suspect. First the cannon screw up, now you rub salt in the wound? Okay, I kid a little bit. This fella seemed a decent, hard-working guy, but does kind of fuel my paranoia that somebody on the show is watching these videos. His little bit wasn't too bad. Jack and Lucifer, they have some moments, then Michael shows up. The show tries for some intense drama, and then has Dean finally accept being Michael's vessel. And then we have the final fight. Wirework? I know I said I prefer to watch fisticuffs on the show, but it was always kind of implied that if Michael and Lucifer fought, mountains would tremble and the seas would boil. Nope. Turns out it's just an aerial wrestling match. At some point I was wondering if Jensen and Mark were fighting not to burst out laughing. It's like after working so hard to show respect for canon and Kripke's legacy, the writers just had a relapse and decided to desecrate as much as possible as fast as possible. I'll discuss this a little more in the season review, but let's just consider this. Kripke spent 4 years building up the payoff of the 5th season, at which point he then spent the entire season examining the boys' struggles and their choices, with everything ultimately hinging upon those choices in a moment of supreme drama that paid off beautifully in the final episode. This moment has barely any setup or been examined at all this season. Heck, half the season, Lucifer's just been an outright joke. So when the plot wants us to believe that Dean is backed into some kind of corner because of Lucifer's actions, it doesn't feel nearly as impactful. Yes, this did show improvements over some of Carver's previous efforts, but it still falls short of Kripke's masterpiece, which makes its general tone of being a refutation of Kripke's efforts all the more grating. I'll admit, I'm torn. On the one hand, I always encourage the show to stretch and try new things. On the other hand, It was pretty much that silly. Sharknado levels, yeah, I said it. The wire work just wasn't pulled off. But then if they hadn't done that and gone with a full CGI fest in the air, would that have really been any better? No, some of the episodes of Flash prove that straight CGI looks pretty bad on a TV budget. I really wish I could sit down with the writer or director or whoever worked on this episode and ask them, what were you thinking? What was your goal? What was the original idea? Was there a much grander plan originally that just time and budget forced everything to be downgraded? Did you guys consider anything else? Like maybe a giant thub wrestling match or rock, paper, scissors? What if, say, the actors just fought in front of a green screen and then you could put different backgrounds behind them to kind of show that this fight is teleporting all around the world, which these two archangels would be able to do. Did you even consider destroying the set this all took place in, blowing out the windows? Did this fight have to all be done in one take, or did you guys have multiples? So much I want to ask. So should I grade this episode for at least trying something new, or should I dock them for a lack of self-awareness, as everyone on set should have realized that this wasn't going to work? Now, the rest of the episode was pretty solid. Good performances, some interesting set pieces. I kind of laughed when Jack was misbehaving and Dean shot him a couple times. I especially like that Jack asked Lucifer to kind of do some cleanup and bring people back from the dead. It has bugged me that this season we've never seen Jack ask for instruction or make an effort to develop his resurrection abilities. I mean, after all, if he's supposed to be eventually, if not right now, more powerful than an archangel, then he should be able to res people just like they can, or regular angels can. So, as hard as he takes death, which is a good thing, how reason he's not been driven to learn the skill of bringing people back to life? It's kind of been a real missed opportunity through this whole season. I guess all total this will have to just be about a 2 out of 5. It only had 2 real missteps in this episode, but those mistakes were just so badly done and executed. They just dragged down an otherwise really solid episode. It looks like I was right. The previous episode, Exodus, would have been a much better season finale. But that's not all I have quite to say about it. Tune in next week. I'm going to give a review of the entire season and look at how the story developed overall, what we kind of learned and saw from the characters. Analysis next Monday. We'll see you then.